All right. Hey, Madeleine. Great to host you here and the Leaders Cut the BS new session podcast. So I'm very excited to learn more and get to know you more. So first of all, I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name right. Is it Madeleine or Madeleine, or how do you say it?
Madeleine.
Is it the
Madeleine, yeah.
Madridine? Okay, perfect, perfect. So Madeleine, you have an incredible background. You're Spanish qualified corporate lawyer. You're ICAM specialized. You also work at Lexidy, which I think I know well, so I know what you guys are all about. But please, like, just if it's easier, I think for you, how would the audience get to know you? Like, who is Madeleine Cadwell?
So, as you said, my name is Madeleine. I'm a corporate lawyer and IP lawyer at Lexidy. I've been at Lexidy for 5 years now, and I've been leading the corporate team for 1.5 years. So, basically, in my day to day, it's a lot of corporate work, corporate clients, and so on. But also, I'm in charge of automation of processes, tech adoption, and so on. So that's why this conversation really seemed interesting for me. At Lexidy, we're a multi-jurisdictional law firm, so we specialize in helping international clients with whatever they might need in Europe, so relocation, starting businesses, and so on. So a lot of my day to day is actually explaining to different clients how systems work in my case Spain or in other jurisdictions, and making sure that the transition is as seamless as possible for them, taking into account, of course, different legal systems that they're accustomed to.
Amazing. And so explain a bit more. You operate in the Spain, but you're originally from the UK. But explain like what
Yes.
Lexidy does. And so is like is do I to for me to go and have my visa application in Spain or in Europe? So I go to Lexidy. They make the process extremely smooth. Like, yeah, how does it work?
Yeah, so as you know, Europe generally is a very bureaucratic area of the world, and Spain specifically is probably one of the most bureaucratic countries in the EU currently. So,
Oh, really?
um,
Is Europe bureaucratic? Okay. Okay.
so our goal is basically to make the process as seamless as possible with what is within our control. So we use a lot of different platforms, a lot of different tools, automation and internal processes to reduce the impact of that bureaucracy on our clients. Of course, up to a certain point, there are certain sections where it is inevitable. You're still going to have to go to the consulate or to the embassy, but we try to reduce that impact on our clients as much as possible. And while Spain is bureaucratic, it also means that you do have that legal security. So it does have a pro to it. There is a lot of legal security in Spain. Although that does come currently with bureaucracy. Hopefully, within the next few years, they can develop systems reducing the bureaucracy while still maintaining that legal security.
That's amazing. I was just in Marbella and a few weeks ago, month ago actually, but I found the Spanish people to be incredibly kind. So
Yes.
it's a bit like a conundrum that they have so much bureaucracy, but more people should be going to Spain for sure. So let's zoom in a bit on what you do in work. So again, for people who don't know you in that much detail, what do you spend most of your time thinking about at work?
As a team lead, of course, you think about your team constantly, what you can do to help them, their career progression, where they're heading. But then as a lawyer, it's very different. It's focused on clients, on helping them, on again making these administrative processes less problematic for our clients. I focus a lot on, as I mentioned before, translating in a way what the Spanish system means to a foreign client. A lot of clients, they come from the US. If you're in Delaware, you can incorporate a company in one day, and then you come to Spain, and then the reality is it's going to take you 4 to 6 weeks. So that's a
Mm.
huge shock to them. So it's a lot of walking clients through that, helping them understand, and in the background, thinking of ways, okay, it's taking 4 to 6 weeks, but how can I reduce this impact on my client? So it's a lot
Mm,
of different things that go through my mind on a daily, but I'd say those are the main ones.
amazing. So how to make the transition smooth, how to increase the impact, and like be this shock
Yeah.
absorber or reality kind of check. Okay, amazing. So what's the part of your role you feel is surprising to people the most?
I think also as a corporate lawyer, people think, you handle businesses on a day-to-day, you're working with all of these big companies, and a lot of the time it's we have a lot of individuals, founders, small businesses that are looking to set up. And when you're relocating to a new country to set up your new business, there are so many questions that aren't legal that people
Mm,
have. So, part of my day to day is also advising clients on, the best areas in Madrid for schools and,
mm,
where should I buy my house? And
wow.
do you think I can get this loan from the bank? And it's a lot of sort of more personal questions that aren't really, you don't need a lawyer to answer, but the client really relies on you for everything. So we really do accompany clients in everything, and it's not, the big corporates working with Amazon and Apple.
Yeah.
It's all of these smaller details that I think makes us stand out, and also is quite surprising to friends and colleagues when I explain to them that that it's not all, legal documents and notary deeds.
Wow, I love that. So it's like I'm imagining this brand Lexidy lifestyle, kind of. So it's not only the legal incorporation, but it's the lifestyle incorporation. So
Hmm.
the things around, like also co-working spaces, places like apartment where to live, where to go, where to buy an office, etc. So my
Hmm.
understanding also is that the corporate side. So you have individual and corporate. The corporate side is when a company wants to relocate with its employees, and the individual is just me as a individual. I want to go, I want to have a green whatever, like
Hmm.
card or like visa. So there is both segments. Amazing that you lead that. That's really a big deal. So walk us through a normal week for you and your team. Where do you feel work tends to like pile up, or like, yeah, where do you feel work is gets intense?
Yeah. I'd say that every week is very different. As you mentioned, the type of clients that we have are very different, so their needs and worries vary a lot. However, where work normally piles up is, I'd say, for example, when we need to prepare certain documents, as we grow as a team and as more clients are requesting services from us, of course, the actual time to sit down and review documents, draft documents gets reduced and reduced because, your inbox is about to explode. So you're
Mm,
constantly, staying on top. We do pride ourselves in trying to give responses in less than 24 hours, aiming to do even 12 hours sometimes. But it's
mm,
hard to keep that up when workload is increasing. Clients ask you, as I mentioned, just about everything that goes past their mind, and we love that. But then the time to
mm,
actually sit down and dedicate to, investigating more complex matters, drafting documents, reviewing documents, it's very difficult to find time to do that. That on one
mm,
side, and on the other side also, I'd say follow-ups. So when you have to manually follow up with notary offices, registries, when you need to manually follow up with clients, sometimes when you're pending just that one last piece of information and then not
mm,
sharing it, and that's stopping the whole process and that's delaying everything, then those sort of manual follow-ups also, they just tend to get left in the background, and then they just keep building up, and then you're ending up with a ridiculous amount of emails that you have to send. So I'd say those are the two main points.
amazing. So following up and spending the time to read all these documents that you have in your mailbox. Sounds like you have a very busy mailbox and a lot going on. So what's the kind of task that you feel is quietly like eating up the time, but no one really questions?
I think again, part of it is follow-ups, to be honest.
Mm,
Part of it is follow-ups. Part of it is that bureaucratic side of all processes in Spain. I think a lot of clients, as I mentioned, when you come from countries where things are done electronically or things are done a lot easier, then you don't really take into account that this is something that we're doing that's part of our process. You just think, okay, I've signed a document, now they're handling it, and now I have to wait 3 months, and you don't know what's going to happen in those 3 months. But in those 3 months, there's a lot
mm,
of things that's going on in the background that you don't fully see. So
mm.
I'd say definitely the follow-ups, and also the bureaucratic side of things that a lot of the time the clients don't really appreciate as much because they come from countries where it's very different.
I hear you. Okay, great. And when things get really busy for you and you're having this, week, it's really busy and intense and difficult. So what usually breaks first? Maybe it's you, by the way. We don't
Yeah.
know. Like whatever.
No, I'm lucky that I have a lot of patience, so my level until breakage is quite high. But I'd say what starts to break is that sort of that control over everything, over all of the
Mm,
matters, making sure everything's on track, that nothing gets left, up in the air. Make
mm,
sure that as soon as one step is finished, we start with the next one. So we're not delayed. I think that is, as soon as the workload increases, that's one of the difficulties that we face is staying on
mm.
top of everything at the same time, because there's a lot of different matters, a lot of different clients, and staying on top of it
Yeah.
sometimes can be difficult.
I hear you. Yeah, that definitely sounds challenging. And at some point, Madeleine, you spoke about tech. You spoke about you look at like potential initiatives to make things more efficient. So at some point, you feel AI or automation or maybe softwares in general came up as a possible fix to one of these two challenges or maybe others.
Yeah, definitely. We actually use AI, and we have part of processes automated in Lexidy. So it's something that we've been developing for about a year now, I'd say. And I think it's great. It's really helping. It's really making an impact and a change. Um, so for me, I think the way that people perceive AI is quite incorrect. I think they think, it's going to take jobs, it's going to completely replace that human touch. And I completely disagree with that. I think it's just something that's going to help us provide even a better service and be more efficient while we're doing it. Um, but yeah,
Mm,
it's something that we work on a daily. We have projects, we have ideas in ways to automate very administrative tasks. I'm now currently working on the automation of those follow-ups. So hopefully sometime soon we'll have that fixed as well.
amazing. Fingers crossed. And so that's a great segue to, speaking about this. So what did you try? What didn't really work the way you hoped?
So we've actually tried automating certain tasks a few times. So we've had to. It's been a lot of trial and error, as it is with everything. So you do invest time in developing this process to then find out maybe it doesn't work, or also I think at the level of AI, how it's improving and how it's developing so quickly. By the time we actually develop a system that seems to work, there's a new solution that's even better. So we completely
Mm,
scrap the first one and we start working
yeah.
on a second one because there's something
Oh,
that's going to
damn.
work better.
Yeah. No, tell me about this. It
I
happens
know.
like, and we would spend 3 months or 4 months,
Hmm.
and like this one release makes everything you built in 3 months now a small
Yeah,
feature that could be implemented tomorrow. And you're like, ah, then you do the
I
same
know.
process 2 months. Now it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so that's great. So looking back, what do you think was missing when you tried to fix this email follow-up issue or others?
I think what we were missing to be able to start our AI and automation journey was clarity on our processes. So, for example, if we have
Mm,
three main processes, we knew what we were doing because of course you know what you're
Mm.
doing, you've been doing it for years, but you haven't actually sat down to map out the process, identify the key steps where AI or automation can be introduced to help, identify the
Wow.
steps where it's an administrative burden, where it's something with a government portal where you can't use AI. So I think
Mm.
for us it was really mapping out the main processes and where we
Mm.
invest most time, and then that really made it a lot easier to see where AI and automation can really add value and reduce our time. And also it helped us see how with small tweaks and adding AI, how our time was being decreased
Mm.
in
Mm. Mm.
involving in those processes. Um, I think that was very necessary to start our journey. And the other thing was really to have real data, because up until the use of AI, we never really sat down and thought, okay, how long does it take us to do this whole process beginning to end? How long do we take in each
Mm.
stage? So we didn't have that data, and realistically, we couldn't compare how AI was going to impact because we didn't have a start off data. So then we couldn't compare with this
Mm.
small tweak, how much time am I saving? So those were the two points that we really worked on before starting, and I think that's really helped us.
Madeline, I'm quite impressed really because the language even that you used about mapping and the data is something, I know with my experience in AI, something very advanced and like, engineers and business people would think. So I congratulate you like for thinking already
Thank you.
these things. I'm very curious to learn more, of course, on how do you map, because mapping could be a very difficult process of, first of all, what are the stakeholders, and then bringing the stakeholders, and then doing a diagram, and then in this diagram you're mapping the time per average task, and then you got to get their approval, you got to get their backing, and then convert all this to money,
Mhm.
so it makes you have a business case. So I'm curious to know, like, if you have any advice, even for the audience, for me, I'm curious to know, like, and I'm sure it's not a very straightforward thing because it could be
Yeah.
quite complex, but interested to learn more.
Yeah. So, I mean, at Lexidy, I do think we're quite advanced as a law firm when it comes to tech and AI. Of course, this is in no way um, down to me or solely down to me, but we have a very
Mm.
strong product team who work on discovering new tools, discovering new platforms, and then as soon as I have an idea for the team or for the department, then I reach out to them and we work together to be able to implement it. Or they say to me, look, we tried this in another case, it doesn't make sense, don't waste your time there. So it really is a
Mm-hmm.
really big team effort. And also from management, we have um, a very strong founder who has very clear ideas as to where he wants to go, which also helps us be able to push that way as well. So, regarding how we got here, I'd say that my biggest advice would just be, start from the bottom, start from the beginning, because if you don't have that clarity on your processes, you don't know where you want to go with it, then it's just not going to make any sense. I mean, you can't start
Mm.
building from the top. You really need to create that foundation, that strong foundation. So for us, it was mapping out the processes. As I said, maybe it's just a very
Mm.
basic mapping of the
Mm.
different stages of the processes, how long it takes, who intervenes in each stage of the
Yeah.
process. So if it's a lawyer, if it's a paralegal, if someone else is meant to intervene, then also generate real data that you can actually use, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's just going to get lost. And then also identify the data that's going to be most useful for you. So whether it's how many visas we submitted last year, how many
Mm-hmm.
companies we incorporated, which were our main services, where our main clients are coming from, anything
Mm-hmm.
like that, to then adapt your processes with real data and accurate data that's actually going to help you. And with the processes, just go from the very basic and build up. Identify small tweaks that you can make that will
Mm-hmm.
have the biggest impact, and then just go from there. And then as you learn from experience, I can say that as you learn, suddenly things that you didn't think were possible are going to seem possible. So
Mm,
From a beginner, you can think, okay, this small thing seems easy, this small thing seems easy. And then as you work, you're going to be learning and you're going to be opening your mind to other possibilities as well. So just take it slowly, I'd say.
amazing. And if that one process runs noticeably smoother, what would that free up you and your team to do? Including, by the way, it can
Yeah.
be the process you explained to actually map or come up with a solution, or the follow-ups,
Mhm.
or what you feel has the biggest impact ROI for you and the firm.
I think for us, for example, we mapped out our main process last year and really improved the way that service is delivered. So this year, what we've been able to concentrate more on is identifying new business opportunities, new services we can offer, um, improve our relationships with existing clients, be more present with them, be more available. So if we're not constantly busy with administrative burden, then we can actually be more present with clients. And that's something that we really value, of course, and obviously clients do as well, to make, just for them to know that you're there if they need anything. So it's really freed us up to identify more business opportunities, and improve our client relationship and improve our process of, once the service is finished, what happens after that, because otherwise we were just running so quickly constantly that we finished the service and that was it. And now I can think, okay, we finished. I'll call you in 2 weeks. We'll see how you're doing. Then I will create a system of, maybe I'll follow up. I'll send you some information on Spain, maybe on your company or anything like that. So it's really helped us be able to add that sort of added value for our clients.
Amazing. Okay. And let's say, like, what if this process actually worked for you? Like, even in simple terms, how would you envision your work or the team, like in simple terms?
Where we're going, or where I'm hoping that we're going, is to a point where we can provide a high level service, a high quality, sorry, service, um, but where our main input is reviewing and not the hours of drafting or the hours of preparing or the hours of follow-ups, where we're not adding that much value. So where I think that we'll be adding value, especially where AI is going and at the level it's developing, will be in those client relationships, will be in those first calls, will be in providing clarity, will be in providing, understanding, support, but not stuck in basic document drafting, basic email follow-ups, basic document gathering. So where we're heading, I'm hoping, is a place where we can really focus on where we add value that AI is not going to be able to do.
I love this. This is a great direction. So you free up more time on what truly means and what truly creates the most value for your customers. So, and this is like an interesting segment because you're free to kind of like say whatever you want in and or let it out, let your frustration or vent out. But
Mhm.
thinking about everything you've seen, is there any specific workflow, habit, or meeting where leaders you think should just honestly cut the BS because it looks productive but really isn't?
I mean, this could be a controversial one, but weekly team meetings just seem a bit unnecessary. I think if you have a good CRM where you're able to control all of your client cases and you have that up to date, then you
Mm,
don't need a weekly meeting to review certain matters. Um, I know some people who sometimes have weekly meetings of over an hour. I don't know what you need to speak about for over an hour in a
wow.
meeting, and I don't see how that's going to add any sort of value. So I'd say try to do, now with AI you can have your weekly summary of what's urgent this week, what's blocked, what
Yeah.
needs attention. And then if anything is blocked that you're not sure how to deal with, then you have a team meeting, then you deal with that. But I don't see how basically having the amount of meetings that some people have, especially in leadership, is really
Yeah.
helpful. I see it a lot. People in leadership that they're just drained from the meetings and they can't actually get involved in work where they can really add value, where whether it's tech adoption or not, whether maybe it's client relationship or maybe
Yeah.
it's working on new business strategies or anything else.
I couldn't agree more. Like, by the way, I have to admit, I was one of those those managers or CEOs that would just expect these weekly meetings, because and then you think there's a trust thing. It's like when I'm there, when you're in this meeting, you'll really get the information, you'll squeeze it out. But now I realized it's more about, okay, we know we have this time block there, but let's do all our work async. Let's make sure like we challenge all the questions are there async. And if we absolutely like it's becoming inefficient to async, go back and forth, then let's quickly jump on a call. I think that's way more
Exactly.
efficient. You can multitask, like you could take some time to think about what you're gonna say, and like you can leave it a bit, and then you realize that in 3 4 minutes, they actually just let it go. Whereas in a meeting, could just like blurt out 30 minutes on this unnecessary thing. So I
Definitely.
agree with you. I think this is great advice. And the last question is, if you would give any advice for leaders dealing with the same career path you had, or maybe the same issues you've been through, what would it be?
I'd say I think there's still a lot of uncertainty and fear and worry around AI. I'd say, lose it because it's not going anywhere and it's just gonna increase. In my opinion, we're just each day we're gonna see more development and more system using AI. So the sooner you basically get on the train of AI,
Yeah,
then the better. And just take it step by step, take it slowly, map out your processes, really understand your processes. Because at the end of the day, if you don't understand your own processes, you don't understand why this happens at this stage or why this person is
mm,
involved at this stage, and you don't know your own data, you don't know your own timing, then it's not really gonna be worth it. But map out your processes, understand what you're doing, and just take it slowly. Identify the biggest changes you can make that make the biggest impact, and just go from there.
yeah. Amazing. Love it, Madeline. I think in summary, for those who are just concerned or just conservative around AI, I think the advice is cut the BS, get on the train. And
Yeah.
then how you brilliantly said it. And I would say like this is from an expert like you, any law firm, any person struggling a bit with that, like listen from Madeline, start first, map your process, identify where the time and money is inefficient, can be automated. Once you get there, it's like 70%, 80, maybe 80% of the work. The rest will flow naturally. Take it step by step. And yeah, it's been great talking with you, Madeline. Recommend a lot of people would like reach out to you guys to move to Spain. I love Spain. I think it's the best place in Europe that has
Yeah.
most of the things. So it's a beautiful place to be. Madrid, if you're Madrid, is one of the happiest cities, maybe in the world. So recommend people reaching out and working, collaborating with you guys. Thanks again for the time. It's been a really
Thank you so much.
insightful and fun session, and hope we can chat very, very soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, Madeline. This ends the session. How do you feel? What do you think? How was it for you?
Good. I think it was really easy and really fun to bring up these topics, and yeah, thank you for inviting me.
You're more than welcome. Yeah, same, likewise. And by the way, as you were speaking, I wanted to mention, so first of all, my team will edit this. They will give you 1 week for you to share your feedback, and then we'll go ahead and share. Quick thought before you go is, I remember I had a chat with Ricardo. I think he's part of your
Ah,
team. He's in
Ricardo
ops.
Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he was attending. We have another webinar. He was attending that, and like we were speaking about the same thing about mapping processes, and that he
Hmm.
was looking for something. So as you know, just to let you know, the background is we also have a tool and a system that maps out processes in firms to show them the ROI, and we have
Okay.
agentified this. And so even us, we use an agent to do that. So, and usually when we find that you can make like a decent amount of money, we tell you, hey, you tell us how much you wanna pay for this, and we can do it for you, or we build this AI agent for you. And it just needs to make sense. Like, it needs to at least be 10-15% of what this agent would do. But I would love to hear your feedback, your advice on this. If you think this could help you as a tool, we're happy to give it to you internally so you can play around with it. Maybe do like a small use case where you can just, leverage that to benefit. And yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
happy just to hear your feedback. Would you be against something like that, or you is it through Ricardo only, or you also can share initiatives and also build cases internally?
No, I can definitely share initiatives and do trials. I think for this specific product, I think it's best to do it via Ricardo because it would be applicable to the whole firm. So normally I would handle tools or processes that would be applicable more to the department. However, your
Mm,
solution seems like something that they would be interested in for the whole firm.
yeah,
So in that case, I would speak
interesting.
with Ricardo, and if not, the head of tech, who is David.
Hmm.
And I can
Okay.
also introduce him if you'd like to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, that would be great. And one last thought, would you be against, like, if I shared this tool anyway with you, you can try it out, give us feedback, like, just test it out and see
Of
if this
course.
is beneficial.
Yeah, of course, no
Perfect.
problem.
Uh,
That would be great.
Great. I'll send it to you. So I'll send you two emails, one with the recording and the other one with the tool, and then we uh,
Perfect.
we move from there.
Awesome. Thank you so
Perfect,
much.
Madeline. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day, and hope to chat and talk very soon. I'll also
You too.
connect with you on LinkedIn. I'll share with you my
Okay.
LinkedIn there so we stay connected.
Sounds
Okay?
great. Thanks.
Perfect.
Bye.
Cheers, Madeline. Bye.